Here's a tip for sharing books with your child. Pick books that are at the right level. Help your child pick books that are not too difficult. The aim is to give your child lots of successful reading experiences.
I'm Donna Schoolfield-Clark. I'm a pre-K assistant teacher at Gibsonville Elementary. And today I have chosen the true story of Three Little Pigs as told to John Cheska. And this book was picked for me by my 18 little friends in our classroom. The reason that I like this book is because it's animated. And the secret to reading a great book to a child is that you become animated. Books are flat and they're lifeless until they get in your hands. And the best thing you can do for a child other than give them your love and your attention is to share your passion with them. And your time is one of the best gifts you can give a child. And a book is short. They can take you just a couple of minutes to read through it. And we encourage our children at school to pick up a book and look at the cover and imagine what's going to be inside of it. Take a picture walk with your book. Put the book down, come back to it. Read it to a friend, share it, love it, and make the book your own. If you want to change the names in the story and make it your child's name, it's a great way to personalize the story. So today we're going to hear the true story of Three Little Pigs, and it's going to be told by a wolf. So it's going to be from his perspective. Everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs. Or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too. But, like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This is the real story. Way back in Once Upon a Time, I was baking a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezy cold. I ran out of sugar. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. He had built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house out of straw? So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into somebody else's house, so I called, "Little pig, are you in?" No answer. I was just about to go home without my cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. That's when my nose started to itch. And I felt a sneeze coming on, and I huffed and I snuffed, and I sneezed a great sneeze. And you know what? That whole darn straw house fell down. And right in the middle of this pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. It seemed like a shame to waste a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw. So I ate it. Think of it as a big cheeseburger just lying there. I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have a cup of sugar, so I went to the next door neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little bit smarter, but not much. He built his house out of sticks. I rang the bell on the stick house. Nobody answered. I called, "Mr. Pig, are you in?" He yelled back, "Go away, wolf, you can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin. I just grabbed the doorbell and the doorknob, and when I felt another sneeze coming on, I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze. You're not going to believe this, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was the second pig, dead as a doornail, Wolf Sonner. Now, you know how food will spoil if you just leave it in the open? So I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling better, and I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first and the second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains in the family. He built his house out of bricks. I knocked on the brick house. No answer. I called, "Mr. Pig, Mr. Pig, are you in?" And do you know what that little rude porker answered? He said, "Get out of here, don't bother me again." Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar, and he didn't even want to give me one little cup for my dear old sweet granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed once again. Then the third little pig yelled, "And your old granny can sit on a pin." Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fella, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course, I was trying to break down the pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. The rest, as they say, is history. The news reporters found out about the two pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting, so they jazzed up the story of all that huff and puff and blow your house down stuff, and they made me the big bad wolf. That's it, the real story. I was framed. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar.